Georgia quarterback Hudson Mason with you. It's Jordan Stout, the leader in FBS in touchback percentage. 54 of his 59 kickoffs have gone for touchbacks this year. Gets us started. And we'll see the freshman Isaiah Green lead this Hokies offense on 1st and 10. They'll start from the 25-yard line. There you see Isaiah Green, the freshman from Fairburn, Georgia. This is his 8th start of the season. Missed 4 with an injury, got hurt in the second half in the game against Western Kentucky. Last week threw 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Hudson, what do you like about this kid?
Well, he's inexperienced in terms of years of playing. Hasn't been around the program a long time, but he's taking care of the football, and I think that's something that you got to watch emerge today, especially in a big game like this.
He's hit as he throws on 1st down. The ball is loose. And on the first play from scrimmage, the Hokies force a turnover. It's the bell cow in the middle. The big guy, it's Ricky Walker.
We know that he's the bell cow in the interior part of this defense, and all year Bud Foster's been talking about a dominant pass rusher. No dominant pass rusher. Who can get to the quarterback? Ricky Walker, first play of the game, creating a turnover, which is something this Tech defense, Bud Foster's defense, for as many years as he's been here, is about getting the ball back to your offense, and what a way to get this crowd involved.
Turnover is going to play a huge factor on both sides for Virginia Tech this season. They're +8 in turnover margin in their 5 wins and -6 in their 6 losses, and they are going to take another look at this just to make sure that Green did indeed fumble. We'll take another look as well.
You can see trying to go through his progression, and Ricky Walker, who's a second-team All-ACC, only behind the big boys and the dominant pass rush of the interior guys at Clemson. But he's got great hands. He's a veteran on this team, and this defense is full of pups, and he's really one of the very few, if not the only veteran on the defensive side of the ball. In a statement game, you start the game with a statement play. That's senior leadership right there.
Doc Holliday not happy with his offense on the first play of the game. Holliday has coached this team to 3 10-win seasons. Went 3-9 in 2016, but other than that, 5 of 6 seasons, they've got 8 or more wins. One more look.
You can see Ricky Walker, just a mismatch right there on the center for Marshall, Levi Brown. And you know, here's a crowd. It's not a full stadium. People were kind of wondering, what's the environment going to be like? And for Marshall to turn the ball over on a free play.
Rolling on the field stands.
And so not enough to overturn that. Remember, call on the field was a fumble. And they didn't see enough there. Justin Fuente loves it. Doc Holliday, not so much.
And it's so crucial in college football a lot of times. Look, if there's any obscurity behind the play call, we've seen the trend of referees. They're going to keep with the play on.
Willis on the sweep play left. This is Turner with his first touch of the day. Chase Hancock with the tackle, and Turner picks up a couple. Brings up 2nd down. As you get a look at Ryan Willis, the transfer from Kansas, thrust into action in the second half against Old Dominion earlier this year after Josh Jackson fractured his leg, and Willis done a nice job. 18 touchdowns, 8 interceptions this year. Through the fog, Keene with the reception, and a nice defensive play for no gain.
And here's the storyline for Ryan Willis, and especially Dalton Keene. For Ryan, it's just about making the mundane play more consistently. Only completed 42% of his passes last week. I know these coaches and these offensive coaches for Tech want to try to get him into a rhythm, and you saw right there a nice little easy completion to Dalton Keene, who had a huge catch last week, as Tech fans know, that ultimately sealed the win for Virginia Tech on that last drive.
This fog is something else today at Lane Stadium. Willis to the end zone for Turner, and it's through his hands and incomplete. Good coverage by Kerryon Merrill. And as the Virginia Tech field goal unit comes out, let's take a look at our impact players. On offense, Damon Hazelton and Chase Hancock.
Yeah,
on defense.
Damon Hazelton, who was out last week. It's going to be big for Ryan Willis. Look, this is one of the best rush defenses, and especially Chase Hancock, who leads this defense in tackles. They're going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups outside. Hazelton's got to take advantage of them.
The 33-yard try from Johnson is up and good. He's made 3 consecutive field goals. And Virginia Tech turns the turnover into 3 points. 3-0 Virginia Tech over Marshall early on. They're sitting in the fog. They're braving out the cold, but they know what's at stake. They want to see their Hokies get to a 26th consecutive bowl game. And guess what? Another touchback from Mr. Stout. 2 for 2 in that category. They only 5 kicks this year have not gone for touchbacks. That's incredible. But the crowd here at Lane Stadium very much into this one, especially after what their defense did on one play on Marshall's first possession. And now we get a chance to look at our impact players on the offensive side for Marshall and on defense for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, for Marshall, it's wide receiver Tyree Brady. And Marshall has 2 long receivers that can body DBs, so that's something to watch if they want to take advantage of. And then Dax Holyfield, a freshman, high motor guy, big passion, big energy, leads this team on defense.
Green trying to set up the screen to the left side, but the Hokies had it read well, and it brings up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, it's crucial for this Virginia Tech team to get this crowd into it. It's not a sold-out stadium. It's a noon kickoff. It's a little monotonous. The weather isn't great, but to get a turnover on the first play and especially turn it into points, that's something that Va-Tech has got to use their advantage today playing at home.
Three plays and 3 passing plays for Marshall. They try to go up over the top. It's incomplete. Caleb Farley on the coverage of Tyree Brady, the 5th-year senior out of Homestead. And just like that, it's 3rd and 10 for the Marshall offense.
Well, and I'm sure after turning on the tape from last week, Marshall saw that Virginia went after Caleb Farley. And that's what they tried to do right here, kind of hand-to-hand combat. And Farley got picked on last week, whether it was penalties, touchdown that he gave up.
Marshall just under 40% for the season on 3rd down. Hokies bring pressure. Green looking for some space. Green will take off. And with an extra effort, I think he picked up the 1st down. He got 11. It looked like the Hokies had him bottled up. Belmar finally made the stop, but not before Green used his legs for the 1st down.
Yeah, that's the part of Isaiah Green's game that you really have to game plan for, whether it's 4 guys down linemen or linebackers. Belmar right here missing the crucial tackle on 3rd down. Memphis is, they're okay, Marshall is okay on offense, really good on defense and special teams. That's been kind of the anchor for their success this year, but really good on 3rd down to keep them on the field this season.
330 total yards last week, and they go on the ground for the first time today. It's Brendan Knox, the redshirt freshman. He made his first career start last week against FIU. He's led the team in rushing for 3 straight games, and what a story. Brendan Knox is buried on the depth chart at the beginning of the season, played a lot of special teams, but never complained about it. And due to some injuries and other factors in that backfield, he's finally got his chance and he's taking advantage of it.
You look at the running backs and the depth, whether it's Knox or Tyler King, who's their leading rusher, Keon Davis, Anthony Anderson, they're stacked like a Power 5 ACC, SEC team at that position.
They go to Knox again on 2nd down, and he gets past the 40-yard line to the 41. Brings up 3rd down and about 4 for the Marshall offense.
This is a place where they're about middle of the pack in Conference USA. 40% on 3rd down, which is, you'd like to be in that 42 to 45% range. That's where elite offenses are, but this is the storyline for both teams today is 3rd down. You got 3rd and 4. They're going to try some QB draw. We saw Isaiah Green going through a progression. Do they try to use his legs to their advantage in this game?
Through the fog, Green back to pass. He's hit. Let's go of it to Knox. He somehow shakes that tackle and picks up the 1st down. It was Nathan Proctor who had a shot at him about a yard shy of the line to gain, and Knox able to shake free. Back-to-back 3rd down conversions when the Hokies had a chance to stop him short.
Well, again, it's the lack of pass rush for Virginia Tech, although we saw it on the first player, Ricky Walker. That's a storyline that's going to evolve today. They haven't had a dominant pass rusher all year. Bud likes to bring pressure, but he likes to do it with his 4-down linemen. He might have to change that up this game if that doesn't pick up.
Well, they bring pressure here. Green has to throw across his body and has a man wide open deep into Virginia Tech territory inside the 30. Armani Levias A gain of 27 yards. Ashby finally made the stop.
Again, Vatech decides to bring 5 here on a linebacker blitz. And Green just finding his guy outside the pocket. The key is there, he keeps his eyes down the field. You scramble to throw, good things happen.
Knox again, straight up the middle. And Dax Hollyfield makes his first stop of the day. That ball of energy in the middle of that Virginia Tech defense. Knox takes it to the 24-yard line, brings up 2nd and 7. There's 4.5 into this first quarter.
There's our impact guy for Virginia Tech defense, a freshman, a coach's kid. By the way, birthday kid too. Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Dax.
I'm sure nothing that guy wants more, especially as a young freshman, than to carry on the rich tradition of bowl games here for Virginia Tech football.
Green has all day to throw, fires it left side, and that's a catch for Tyree Brady. He now has a catch in 23 consecutive games. That's a gain of 12 and a first down. Caleb Farley on the coverage.
Isaiah Green's favorite target, Tyree Brady, big kid, 6'3", 205 pounds, had 2 touchdown catches last week. But what sticks out to me on this first drive is Bud Foster's going to have to make a decision pretty quickly as this game evolves, because 4-down linemen just aren't getting the green.
Marshall in the red zone. What a move to get inside the 10 by Anthony Anderson, his first carry of the game. Ashby brings him down.
Marshall loves to get the ball in Anthony Anderson's hands down here in the red zone, especially inside the 10. He leads the team in touchdowns with 8, but he's 240 pounds. I mean, that's almost, Jerome Bettis was a big dude, but 240 pounds when you got a couple yards to go, especially in the red zone where you got to run the football, that's something you take advantage of.
Yeah, he leads the team in rushing touchdowns this season on the 11th play of the drive to the end zone. And it's broken up. Javon Quillen, the junior from Hampton, Virginia, breaks up the pass. Tyree Brady, the intended target. And it's 3rd down.
What Bud Foster's going to do is going to load the box. 7 guys, more like 9 guys is what you'll see throughout the game, and it's just a back shoulder, trying to throw a back shoulder fade there to Tyree Brady, and it's a good job of the DB for Vatech getting his hands in there and forcing a big 3rd and goal situation here.
Marshall has outscored their opponents 74-22 in the first quarter this year. On this 3rd down, to the end zone again, and it's picked off. Bryce Watts, he fractured his arm earlier in November against Boston College. He's playing with plates and screws in his arm. It didn't affect him there. And on 2 Marshall possessions, the Virginia Tech defense has forced 2 turnovers.
Pretty good job for a guy who basically only has 1 hand.
Still 3-0 Hokies on top of Marshall after the turnover. Hokies take over when we come back.
And both staffs are very familiar with each other, too.
Earned his 69th win last week against FIU. As the give goes to Peoples again. And Peoples dragging the pile to the 28-yard line. That will set up a much more manageable 3rd down and short.
Yeah, he can do that at 222 pounds. And for this Virginia Tech offensive line, pretty young. And that's the story on both sides of the ball for Virginia Tech. The youngest 2 deep in terms of depth in all of the ACC conference. It's about running the football for Virginia Tech today.
Turner in motion, they fake the sweep to him. Willis keeps it, and Willis picks up the 1st down. Brandon Drayton on the stop, but Willis, who has that ability to move around with his legs, picks up the fresh set of downs.
Yeah, they really feel like they have a competitive advantage in 3rd and short situations with him being able to make plays with his legs. So you'll see a lot of QB power, zone read. And if some of these defensive ends like Ty Tyler and Marquise Couch for Marshall don't really stay at home and honor the quarterback, he's going to make you pay.
Virginia Tech had 254 rushing yards last week against Virginia, their 3rd highest total this year. 1st and 10 for the Hokies from the 36. First carry of the game for Deshaun McLeese, and he has no room to work with. Picks up maybe a yard, and a nice stand for this Marshall defense. Ty Tyler who started every game this season at defensive end, the first to hit McLeese. And this is a Marshall defense that's really carried this team. You mentioned the defense and special teams earlier. This has been one of the best defenses, not just in Conference USA, but in the country over the last month.
6th in rushing defense, top 10, and forcing teams that go to 3 and outs immediately.
McLeese slithers his way past the 40. Chase Hancock with another tackle.
I mean, it's hard to get into a rhythm against this Marshall defense. I mentioned they force teams into 3 and outs, which ranks 4th nationally, 42% of the time. You get on the field, you're not staying very long against this Marshall defense. So when you're really good at stopping the run, Ty Tyler, and especially for this Marshall defense, Ryan B. and Malik Thompson are 2 guys to watch, and the interior part of that front 7, very, very disruptive.
Willis on 3rd down, a pitch and catch to Hezekiah Grimsley. Malik Ganton covered. It's a gain of 18 and a first down on 3rd and 5.
Well, that's what you love to see as a Virginia Tech fan. On 3rd and medium, your quarterback, Ryan Willis, who has been inconsistent throwing the ball from the pocket, standing in there, throwing a good, accurate ball, and great protection by his offensive line to allow him at the time to dissect Grimsley running the out route.
Grimsley recovered that Stephen Peoples fumble in the end zone last week against Virginia to tie the game at 31. Willis has that pass tipped at the line of scrimmage, and luckily for him, it falls harmlessly to the grass, and it's 2nd and 10.
I think sometimes, even though Ryan Willis is a redshirt junior, he transferred from Kansas. He walked on here, left a scholarship on the table at Kansas and walked on here, and then took over for Josh Jackson when he got hurt. But sometimes, even though he is an upperclassman, he doesn't have a lot of playing experience in Fuente's offense. You can see, like that play right there, his eyes were to the field. He comes back sometimes uncertain where to go with the football.
And we have our first penalty of the game.
Ball start. Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Makes a 2nd and 15 instead of 2nd and 10. It's a byproduct of having freshmen in there. Christian Darasol, left tackle out of Maryland. Young guys, and that's a byproduct of playing a lot of freshmen, a lot of inexperienced guys on both sides of the ball for Virginia Tech this year.
Darasol, one of 9 true freshmen in the country, to start the opener on the offensive line. Off play action over the middle. It's 6 for the Hokies. Grimsley with his 2nd touchdown grab of the year from 46 yards. And Virginia Tech has a 9-0 lead in the first quarter.
That's what's so difficult from a defensive standpoint on these RPO actions. Quarterback rips the ball out, and if you're a middle linebacker, what are you going to do? You're going to jump the run? It sure looks like a run from that standpoint. Then you rip the ball out, and he throws a strike over the middle to Hezekiah Grimsley, who gets his 2nd touchdown of the season.
Johnson adds the extra point, and it's a 10-0 first quarter lead for the Hokies over Marshall. 5:20 to go in quarter number 1. To Hezekiah Grimsley, the longest catch of his career. He had the big 3rd down catch and the 46-yard touchdown as well. And here's a rare non-touchback and a chance for a return. And a special teams tackle inside the 15-yard line by Divine Diablo. And Hudson, let's take a look back at that touchdown.
Yeah, put your eyes on Marshall's middle linebacker, number 35. You see him bite the run right there, and that's a part of the RPO that's so dangerous is you force defenses can't be right. How do you not jump the ball right there if you're Frankie Hernandez? You pull the ball out if you're Willis and you throw a strike. Good 2 confident throws that last drive by Willis, and they both happen to go to Grimsley.
Willis 2 for 3, 64 yards on that drive. Both completions to Grimsley, and this Virginia Tech defense is just swallowing up Marshall offensively. Rayshard Ashby makes the stop in the backfield there. Gain of about 1.5 yards brings up 2nd and 8.
Yeah, they couldn't even really get lined up, and it worked to their advantage. Trying to run zone left and get some push by this offensive line, and that's really the key matchup today is both sides of the ball. Can Va-Tech get pressure with their 4, and can Marshall get pushed with their 5?
Green with all day. Slings it sidearm and it's incomplete. And again, Virginia Tech's defense forcing a 3rd down and long here for Marshall's offense.
Back to 3rd and long again for Virginia Tech, and it's a place they've been really good at so far. Sometimes it's the legs of Isaiah Green that has hurt him. Playing good coverage and what you call plaster for these DBs to stick to the receivers. It's the legs of Isaiah Green that have hurt Virginia Tech so far. He's 3 for 7, 44 yards and an interception early on. 3-man rush. Nobody home. And a 3-and-out forced by the Hokies defense. Ricky Walker providing the pressure in the face of Isaiah Green. And for the 5th time in a row, it's Bud Foster dialing up zone coverage, meaning he's got 7 to 8 guys sitting back there. And for Isaiah Green, he just has nowhere to go with the ball. And if you're going to continue to play zone coverage, you have to have a lot of confidence. You got to rely on your 3 to 4 guys to get to the quarterback. And that time, Virginia Tech wins again.
Here's Robert Lefevre on to punt. Averaging a little over 40 yards per punt. Punt returns have been a bit of an adventure this season for Virginia Tech, but a fair catch called for right there.
It's been musical chairs at that position for Virginia Tech.
A punt of 35 yards, no return, but great field position for Ryan Willis and the Virginia Tech offense, already leading 10-0 here late in the first quarter.
You're right, and here's what I would call a statement drive. You're up 10-0. Your defense, Marshall has drove the field on Virginia Tech, but they've had kind of that bend but don't break mentality, and now you've got great field position. This is usually a spot in the game, a spot on the field with great field position that you see offensive coordinators like to take a shot, an explosive play to cut the field in half.
On 1st down, it's McLeese with a big hole to the left side, but it closes quickly. He's able to march his way into Marshall territory at about the 49-yard line. Chris Jackson, the corner, on the stop. We mentioned earlier, Marshall, get a look at Justin Fuente in his 3rd season. Not the season he would have envisioned probably before, but a lot of turnover on the defensive side of the ball. Only 3 returning starters. He loses his starting quarterback early in the season, but he has this Hokies team in a position to win their 6th game and make their 26th straight bowl game as Willis is brought down from behind at the 40-yard line. Channing Hames with his 4th sack of the year. It's a loss of 10, and it brings up 3rd down and a mile from the 40.
If you talk to the Marshall defensive coaches this week, they spoke high praises of Channing, number 94. He's a freshman. He hasn't played consistently since a freshman. He's a redshirt junior, but the past couple of weeks he has stacked good games on good games, and that's an important part for this Marshall defense. We know they're good at stopping the run, but in predictable passing situations like this one again, can you get to the quarterback?
Virginia Tech plays it conservative on 3rd and 17. And McLeese takes it to the 43-yard line, and so Virginia Tech can't do anything with the good field position, and a nice answer for the Marshall defense forcing a 3-and-out.
Great answer for Marshall's defense there, and it starts with creating a negative play. Kind of surprised there that we didn't see a screen on 3rd and long, just because Virginia Tech loves, and they are really good. Talking to Marshall coaches, whether it's 1st down, 2nd down in the screen game, they're one of the best in the country. A lot of time, those screens go to tight end Dalton Keene.
Oscar Bradburn, the lefty, gets it away, takes a Marshall bounce, and it's down at about the 24-yard line. Well, I started to mention this Marshall defense hadn't allowed a touchdown in the first quarter in 13 of its last 14 games. That's happened. They're already -2 in turnover margin, and the first quarter has really been the best quarter in any game this season. I said earlier, they're outscoring their opponents 74-22 in the opening 15 minutes, but it's been all Virginia Tech so far in the first 12 and a half of this game.
The first quarter is the best quarter for Marshall statistically, and this defense has been great. 12 weeks in a row, they haven't given up a single rusher to go over 100 yards. Last week was the first time a team went over 150 yards on them.
But the Hokies defense, they've forced a couple of turnovers and a 3-and-out. And on 1st down, Marshall keeps it on the ground with Brendan Knox. And Ricky Walker and Diablo combine on the tackle. It's a gain of about 5 to bring up 2nd and 5 as we close in on 2 minutes remaining in the opening quarter in Blacksburg.
It's going to be fun today to watch kind of the chess match between Tim Cramsey, Marshall offensive coordinator, and this defense, because he made it very clear. Look, Virginia Tech loves to load the box.
Here's a big play. A foot race to the end zone for Knox. Will he be caught? Yes, a touchdown saving tackle inside the 5-yard line by Bryce Watts. But an explosive run of 67 yards for Brendan Knox. And it's 1st and goal for Marshall.
We talked about all these running backs being dependable, but you can see the overflow, the pursuit by Virginia Tech right there because of the fly sweep motion, and it opens up the angle backdoor for Knox to create a gash. But it is great effort by Bryce Watts, who picked off the ball earlier on 3rd down for Virginia Tech. It's another place. That saved the touchdown right there. Let's see if Virginia Tech can withstand it.
After the career-long run for Knox, they go to Anthony Anderson, trying to push the pile. And his forward progress is stopped at the 2-yard line. Going back to that run, the left guard Jordan Dowry, he went up to block somebody, and there was nobody there for him to block. That's how wide open that hole was.
And it's really because of, you hear this term thrown around a lot, but it's eye candy. It's all the things that go on pre-snap, and it's the linebackers at the 2nd level of Virginia Tech's defense, and it's the safeties that saw the fly sweep, and they've been told all week in practice, hey, they love to hand this off. Well, this time they fake it and run it out the back door.
Same play, except this time Green keeps it. And Ashby with a nice read to make the stop. No gain, maybe a yard, if that, for Green. And it's 3rd down and goal from about the 1.5-yard line with under 30 seconds remaining in the 1st quarter.
We'll see if Marshall decides to let the clock run out, talk a little bit extra time about it on the sideline. But this is a spot, okay, I don't think you've had a lot of success running in between the tackles because of Virginia Tech's 2 guys in the middle, Hewitt and Walker. I'd like to see you take Isaiah Green's skill set, his legs, maybe run a QB sweep to the right, get out on the edge, try to make something happen.
3rd and goal at the 2. The handoff to Knox, and Knox is in. Marshall's on the board as the clock in the 1st quarter expires. Knox got him down there, and Knox finishes it off. And Marshall has made it a 1-score game.
I think a lot of times you see coaches who will, in that situation where they can come over to the sideline, say, hey, let's talk about it a little bit more, try to scheme it up. Or you can look at it from the angle of, hey, if we let it go to the quarter, that also gives our opponent more time to scheme it up. That time Doc Holliday says, let's keep him on the field, and it works.
Extra point is no good. And so we stay at 10-6 after 1 quarter. A 5-play, 76-yard drive capped off by a Brendan Knox 2-yard touchdown. It's 10-6 Hokies over Marshall after 1 in Blacksburg. At the start of the 2nd quarter after Brendan Knox's 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. Returnable kick here for the Hokies. And they'll start at about the 27-yard line. Let's take a look back at that Brendan Knox touchdown.
Oh, a big 3rd down again, but put your eyes on the right guard, right tackle for Marshall right there, Madden and Adams. Look at the push they get on, the big cowbell. Defensive lineman Ricky Walker for Virginia Tech. That's really what kind of opens up that crease for the touchdown run. And he gets hit at the 2-yard line, but from there, Brendan Knox just falls into the end zone. That's a guy right there that you're looking at that's led the team in rushing for 3 straight weeks. Again, it's a tribute to the depth at the running back position for Marshall.
Willis off play action on 1st down, throws the slant to Turner, and big play Trey has a 1st down to the 44-yard line. Brandon Drayton on the tackle after a gain of 16. And on 1st down, the Hokies have already done more on this possession than they did on their last one. They got the ball right around midfield, but came up empty. They go hurry up, and the carry goes to Peoples to the 49. Malik Gant on the tackle.
Yeah, you mentioned kind of the empty possession that they had before, which gave an opportunity for Marshall to get back in the game. That happened 3 times in the 1st half, deep in Virginia territory last week.
Willis keeps it off the play fake, and he picks up the 1st down to the 45-yard line. Channing Hames on the stop. It's the 2nd 1st down that Willis has picked up with his legs today.
If you go back and watch any of Virginia Tech's games this year, but specifically the Virginia game last week, I really think that this offense really gets into a rhythm when you get a positive yard, especially a positive pass completion like they did on that drive from Willis right there, allows them to just kind of use their tempo to their advantage.
Willis pressured, fires deep, has Trey Turner, touchdown!
Wow.
45 yards to the freshman Turner. Well, this kid is something.
Watch the pocket movement right here by Ryan Willis. Feels it, steps up, 2 hands on the ball. Most quarterbacks take off and run right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you that's as good as of a throw where a quarterback has to reset his feet and keep Turner on the run. Very, very impressive throw. Great pocket movement. That's one of those clips you take for a quarterback, and you use it in the offseason when you're meeting with high school coaches at like a seminar and say, hey, if you want to know how to move and keep your eyes down the field and throw a strike, Ryan Willis did it right here.
Wearing the Beamer Ball jersey, big play, 5-yard touchdown reception after his huge week last week with the blocked punt and the one-handed catch in the end zone. Trey Turner really earning that big play Trey nickname.
It's always good when the guys we highlight at the beginning come to fruition during the game, doesn't it? Makes us look good.
And
we could use all that we could get.
Exactly. And for a guy like Turner who has that big play ability coming into this game, 4th in the country among freshmen in yards per catch. He has 2 for 61 yards today, including that touchdown.
Yeah, so that's 31 yards per catch right there. And that's the thing about him. They use him on special teams. Virginia Tech and Marshall both believe in having their best players and starters on special teams, but he had a rush last week for 43 yards and then 4 catches, so they get him involved in all different sorts and types of plays.
Quick play action and a reception to the right side. A first down along the sideline for Lavius, the tight end, a gain of 12, his second catch. Dax Hollyfield pushed him out. We saw Marshall go play action on first down there. It's been the play action for the Hokies on offense. That's worked out very well for them. Both touchdowns coming off play action.
Yeah, it has. And for Marshall, it's a big drive. You got to respond. You got to find a way to get points right here. And I like the play call on first down. Get your quarterback into a rhythm. Settle them down a little bit.
Knox with another carry. Dragging a tackler for a first down near midfield. Dax Hollyfield and Reggie Floyd combine on the stop. But Knox drags them for 12 yards and another Marshall first down.
Again, watch the right side of this offensive line for Marshall, and Hollyfield and some of these guys up front for Virginia Tech just take the wrong angles. And there's been some creases the last 2 drives for Marshall, whether it's Knox in there, Anthony Anderson. Usually they don't average over 4 yards per pop, but so far they're getting to the second level of this Virginia Tech defense.
Green taking a shot. And it's well overthrown, looking for Tyree Brady. Javon Quillen on the coverage. Brady with only 1 catch so far, as we're early here in the second quarter.
I think, again, that is something that Marshall has to take advantage. They have to grab the bull by the horn, so to speak, and say, hey, we're going to have to take some shots and we're going to have to land some. I mean, you're not going to hit all the one-on-one matchups, but Bud Foster will put 8-9 guys in the box, and he's going to continue to do it. It is who he is, and force Marshall to make plays in one-on-one situations.
What a move by Knox, the line of scrimmage. And he's a yard shy of a first down. Reggie Floyd on the tackle. But Knox makes this a 3rd down and 1 for the Marshall offense as the fog has cleared a little bit. It's nice to see the field clearly again.
Yeah. You see Marshall trying to push tempo right here. They really believe in using tempo to their advantage, especially on 3rd and short situations. This is what you call check with me. Check with the sideline. Offensive coordinators trying to see, is Virginia Tech going to change? You see them changing. Look, they were going to bring the pressure from the boundary. Now they're changing. When you change, we change.
Marshall 3 of 5 on 3rd down. And it'll depend on the spot. He might be short. Ricky Walker in there. They needed the 41-yard line, and the spot right now is about a half-yard shy.
And Doc Holliday sitting over there on the sideline trying to see. That's what he's saying. He's like, come on. I don't think that's the spot I see over here from the sideline. I think if you're Marshall, you really got to consider going for this. It's really less than 1 yard. It's only a couple inches.
They're second in the country on fourth down this year, 10 for 13. Fourth and a half a yard for Marshall. And he did not get it. What another stand by this Virginia Tech defense.
Bud Foster's not on the field today. He's up in the booth, but if we could see him right now, I know he's excited about having basically a turnover on downs and getting your offense the ball back.
It's been all Hokies so far. Back to Blacksburg after this. It was foggy earlier, but the fog has cleared out a bit. And this Virginia Tech defense with another stop. They stonewall Marshall on fourth down, and they hand the ball back to Virginia Tech's offense. And off play action, Willis with some miscommunication completes a pass to the Marshall cheerleaders. And now let's take a look at that fourth down play.
Yeah, the offensive line for Marshall really gets some push right there, but it's the wall that's created right there for Virginia Tech, number 45. And Garbett, it's really the tenacity to continue to play through the ball, because you saw a crease right there, kind of like the score down in the red zone for Marshall where he thought he was going to get it. It's a great job by Garbett, just continuing to play through to the end of the play and really just push Knox backwards. Big stop for Virginia Tech right there on defense. Now an opportunity to kind of step on Marshall's throat and extend this lead even more.
Another play action. They go to Dalton Keene, the tight end. They love this guy. And he's to the 48-yard line. Omari Cobb, the linebacker, on the tackle. Dalton Keene, all ACC honorable mention, had a big catch. His only catch last week against Virginia, a 45-yarder on a 50-50 ball on the game-tying drive.
Yeah, his coaches love him too, and he's only a sophomore out of Colorado, but this guy's going to be around for a couple more years, and he's got a chance to become one of the better tight ends in the country.
Third down and 4 for Virginia Tech. Willis underneath, and a big hit at midfield by Chris Jackson. Coleman Fox took the brunt of it, but Jackson with the big hit forces a punt.
Well, they had been playing man coverage on third down. This time they play zone, and they pass off the underneath route to Jackson outside, and you got to see the corner sitting there hard in the flats and go to your next progression or step up in the pocket and try to make a play with your legs.
So here's Bradburn on to punt for the second time.
Oh.
Not sure I've seen that before.
It's got to be kick-catch interference.
Two flags fly in, and here's the call.
Fair catch interference by the kicking team. Number 26, 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
9:47 to go in the second quarter. Game, they had lost 4 straight. They won their 15th consecutive game in the Commonwealth Cup last week in a wild one in overtime against Virginia, and they need a win today over Marshall to earn that bowl bid. On first down, Green throws, and it's caught for a medium gain on first down, out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Obi Obialo. And there's Justin Fuente. He's had to deal with a lot of adversity with his players, a lot of injuries they've had to work through, including to his starting quarterback, Josh Jackson. They lose 8 starters from last year on defense, 5 to the NFL. But they've battled through it, and here they are with a chance to go to their 26th consecutive bowl game. Second and 4. Knox the carry, trying to get to the outside, and does. The first down and more for Knox. Down the sideline. Still in bounds inside the 30 and down to the 28 before Bryce Watts pushed him out. Brendan Knox, what a story. A gain of 38 yards. He has a touchdown, a rush for 67 yards, and this big game.
Well, Bryce Watts comes off the corner blitz, and he almost gets Knox before he trips, but watch away Knox. Boom! Boom! Finishes the run here. The physicality to these running backs, and I like the way Marshall has handled some early adversity in this game. They turned the ball over on the first play of the game, and Virginia Tech has had really good field position a couple drives, and they've responded nicely.
Already a career high in rushing yards for Knox. He has 145, as you saw here in this first half. Still a ways to go in the second quarter as Caleb Farley makes a nice play on Henry. Minimal gain. In fact, no gain. Brings up 2nd and 10.
It's funny because, you and I highlighted at the beginning of the game, Bud Foster is going to load this box, and so we didn't think really the running lanes, the creases for big plays on the ground were going to be there. We're going to have to kind of generate those in the passing game, but 2 of them have come from Knox, and both of them have come on the ground here in the first half for Marshall offensively.
Green steps up, and he takes off, and then slides down at the 25. Gain of about 3 to set up 3rd and 7.
I think this offensive line for Marshall is finally settling in. They are really getting some push up front on Ricky Walker. We've seen that in the red zone. We've seen that on some short yardage situations, but right there in a passing type position, Isaiah Green had 3-4 seconds to go through his reads. Nothing was there. I mean, that's a credit to your 5 guys up front fighting their tails off.
Marshall 3 for 6 on 3rd down in the first half. Remember, on their last drive, they had a chance to go for it on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 and got stopped both times. Green to throw. He's pressured. Dumps it off to Knox, but what a play to blow up the screen. Rayshard Ashby. If he doesn't make that tackle, Knox might still be running.
Oh,
it's a loss of 7 yards.
You're not lying either. Isaiah Green, phenomenal job of just finding your back right there. You can see there's nobody after Ashby to make the play. That's the type of attitude that Bud Foster is looking for on this defense.
Marshall in that in-between range. Too close to punt. Too far to kick, although they do have the pooch kick for the quarterback, and it might be this. It is. Green's punt rolls into the end zone for a touchback. That's the 4th punt of the season for Isaiah Green. It rolls for a touchback, and with 6:19 to go in the second, it'll be Virginia Tech ball. The Hokie faithful here in Blacksburg hoping to see their Virginia Tech Hokies advance to a bowl game for the 26th consecutive year. A lot of fans here probably haven't been alive for the last time that Virginia Tech didn't play in a bowl game. And the Hokies, who are getting outgained 209 to 163, but have a 2-score lead, back with the football, and it's Kuma who makes the catch for a gain of 9 before Merrill makes the stop. Brings up 2nd and 1. Josh Appel, Hudson Mason with you from Blacksburg. 6 minutes to go in the first half. Hokies on a couple of big plays. Grimsley and Turner, the 2 touchdown receptions. They go with the sweep to Turner, makes one man miss in the backfield, and then picks up the first down, pushing the pile to the 33, the 34-yard line, and now some extra pushing and shoving afterwards, but everybody's all right. No flags thrown. Just moves the chains for the Hokies.
Again, they get a big first down, but it's the positive play on first down that sticks out to me. This time they roll out, they pick up 6, 7, 8 yards on the pass completion to Eric Kuma, and that again is where Ryan Willis seems to be the most comfortable when they get some type of positive play on first down.
They go with the play action on the sweep, set up the screen left side to McLeese. McLeese to the second level. Will McLeese go? 25-20 and down inside the 15-yard line. Chris Jackson saved a touchdown, but Deshaun McLeese picks up 54 on the screen.
A new weapon in their arsenal in terms of screen game, and we talked about how good Virginia Tech was at scheming you up and running different schemes, and this time it's McLeese. He only has 5 catches on the whole season, but that's what Justin Fuente is so good at, is finding ways to get his best playmakers the ball, even in the screen game.
Peoples trying to get the edge, and he's out of bounds inside the 10. They mark him at the 7-yard line. Gain of 6. Sets up 2nd and 4. Missed opportunities for Marshall. A stop on 4th down. They stall out in Virginia Tech territory on the last drive. They have 2 turnovers as well. They only have 6 points.
Yeah, you got to find a way to force a field goal here if you're Marshall. Being down 20-6 compared to 24-6 is a big difference.
Willis to the end zone, and it's overthrown. He was looking in the back for Damon Hazelton, who was limited last week in game action, didn't practice much. He's coming back from an injury, but the Ball State transfer has been, besides Trey Turner, the best weapon on the outside for Virginia Tech. 8 touchdowns, tied for the ACC lead. He's on All-ACC second team this year.
The ball's at the 7-yard line. I'd imagine you're going to throw it here, even though you've had some success running the football, because you got to get it down to the 4 to pick up a first down.
Keen in motion. Willis looks that way, steps up looking for some room, dumps it out, and it's a touchdown for the Hokies. But this one looks like it's coming back. 2 flags down.
I think they're going to get Willis for an illegal forward
Personal
pass.
foul, roughing the passer.
Wow.
Defense. The touchdown counts. The foul will carry over and administered on the kickoff.
From up here, it had looked like he had possibly crossed the line of scrimmage.
I thought that, or maybe an eligible man downfield, but the Hokies will take it. It's 23-6.
Ryan Willis, just the protection alone that he gets. And I'm so impressed so far in this game where when he scrambles, he keeps his eyes downfield. That's where quarterbacks take their offense to the next level.
Stephen Peoples with his first receiving touchdown of the season. And the Hokies have opened up a 24-6 lead over Marshall with 4:10 to go in the first half. And a great drive all set up by that screen from Willis to McLeese.
Now you've really put the pressure on Marshall to respond. And we've seen Marshall move the ball inside the 20s, but then when they get to the 20, 25, kind of that high red zone area, they've stalled out. And like I said, being down 24-6 and momentum alone is a big factor in every game. Is a big difference, but here again, the quarterbacks around the country are taught, when in doubt, when you get pressure, find a back. That's exactly what he does. Young quarterbacks at home, man, take that and learn something from this rep right here of Willis. It's a next level type rep, and really what it is just making a play. There's nothing open.
It looked like for a second Danye Moody, the linebacker, was going to stay with Peoples, but then Willis looked like he was going to maybe take off, and that allowed Peoples to leak out there and get open for the touchdown.
And that's what I'm talking about. When you come to run, when you get forced to run, you get forced out of the pocket as a quarterback. Inexperienced quarterbacks will just put their eyes down and you get 1 or 2 yards. But really where you put a defense in a bind is a quarterback who escapes the pocket, steps up in the pocket, but his eyes are downfield. Now a defender has to honor the pass.
After the 15-yard penalty, this will be the easiest touchback that Stout will have all year.
That'll pad the stats for him.
It'll be 1st and 10 Marshall at the 25. But for Ryan Willis, a career day already here in the first half. 10 of 14, 202 yards, and the career high 3 passing touchdowns. We've got a career high for Willis. On the other side, Brendan Knox has a career high rushing yards here in this first half.
And he just looks so comfortable. And again, I sound like a broken record, but again, it goes back to me of him getting completions on first down. It doesn't have to be 10, 12 yards. Sometimes it's 3 and 4, but 42% of his passes were only completed last week. That's not very good. Today, it's a much different storyline, and he looks really comfortable.
Here's Green, the freshman, trying to answer back, and he goes underneath as Diablo makes the tackle on Artie Henry. Green with the red zone interception earlier, and you look back at it, and that's right now one of the biggest plays in this game. Of course, they had the missed extra point as well. A lot of miscues in this first half for the Thundering Herd. They go at the tunnel screen to Henry, and he picks up the first down, and if he didn't get tripped up, he would have had a whole lot more. He's frustrated as he gets up. He knows it. 3.5 to play in the first half. It's been all Virginia Tech. A couple of turnovers forced. A stop on 4th down as well.
It was Ashby who got this shoestring tackle there, and you're right, it was a jailbreak screen. That would have been a 15, 20-yard gain. Ashby again. Hustle plays to the ball, rallying to the football. That's so Bud Foster type defense.
Knox with a nice gain on first down to the 44-yard line. Ricky Walker. Walker wore the Beamer 25 last week. He became just the second player at Virginia Tech to wear it in 3 different games. Greg Stroman, the only other.
You know what Walker does is he disrupts the play outside of just the fancy stats. His TFLs, his sacks, all of his stats have dropped off a little bit compared to last year, but he influences the game in so many different ways outside of just making the play.
Offense, number 58, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Hudson, is this a must-score drive here for Marshall?
Yeah, I think it is. And even if you can just get a field goal, I think Marshall's in their head a little bit. And Isaiah Green, when you get pressure all day from guys like Walker right there, it's hard to stay comfortable and stare down the gun barrel and have faith in your offensive line. But that's what makes the elite quarterbacks at this level and the next level who they are, trusting your offensive line.
Green flushed from the pocket. And had Henry leaking out late. I think he was coming back for Brady on the comeback route. Overthrows everybody, and now it's 3rd down and 9.
I mean, you mentioned the numbers. I mean, Marshall has 154 yards rushing on the ground. Virginia only 31, but Virginia Tech has been able to create explosive plays in the passing game and cut the field in half. And again, a crucial 3rd and 9 play here for Marshall that they must get. It looks like Bud Foster is going to draw up zone coverage and force Isaiah Green to take what will probably be an underneath check down type drag route throw and rally to the football.
On 3rd and 9, Green fires, and it's broken up. Bryce Watts jumped the route on Brady, and the Virginia Tech defense with yet another stop.
Bryce Watts with another big play. He had the interception in the red zone early in the game. This time working back to the football on a curl choice route by the Marshall wide receiver, and that's so hard to do. If you'll watch here, he's getting pressed vertically. I'm talking about Watts, but to drive on the ball right there and make a play, again, another great effort play. I know that's what Bud Foster preaches so much to this defense.
Ball start, offense, number 10, 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
To get out of your break, right? You don't know that receiver's about to turn around and come back on a choice route. You have to sink your hips and get out of your break and drive back on the football. That's a tough route to defend on the DB. It's a great job by Bryce Watts.
And all the while making sure you don't make contact early and get the pass interference.
We'll put a hand on his back because you know that'll be a 15-yard penalty.
Here's Hazelton. And he slithers his way past the 35, and he's down at the 37-yard line. Coming up at the half, the Capital One halftime report will have the state of Ohio. We'll run through the first half highlights and stats. And we'll go through the Capital One fan vote. Tell you how you can get involved in that. That's coming up on Capital One halftime report. Virginia Tech leading Marshall 24-6 with 2:01 to go in the first half. Hokies have all 3 timeouts left. Peoples, the first down, and he dives towards midfield. Gain of 11 yards for Peoples, who had the touchdown catch on the last drive. And the Hokies have an opportunity here before the end of the half to get yet another score.
3 timeouts, 1:55 remaining. That's forever in college football, so every play is available. They've been so good in the screen game. What you got to make sure here is your Willis. Don't take a negative play. Don't take a sack.
Play action Willis. Over the middle has Kuma. And Kuma drags the defender inside the 35 to the 32. Chris Jackson beat to the inside on that play. And Hudson, the play action has been there all game long so far for this Hokies offense. Gain of 20.
What Willis is doing, you can see he's putting the ball in the belly of the running back, but his eyes are up, and he's reading the linebacker. So it is an RPO. He has the freedom to hand the ball off. If that linebacker triggers, he just takes 1 step and throws that seam or slant route right over his head, kind of right past his earlobe.
Virginia Tech last week against Virginia had their first 30-point game since September. If they cash in with a touchdown on this drive, it'll be back-to-back 30-point games. They haven't done that since the ODU loss, and then followed that up with that 31-14 win on the road at Duke. You get a look at Willis's numbers today. He's having a great afternoon. We mentioned the career-high 3 touchdowns. The important number there, no interceptions.
Efficiency, 11 of 15 coming off a week against Virginia where he was 14 of 33. Great first half for Willis so far.
1st and 10 at the 32. McLeese trying to find some space, but a nice play by Chase Hancock to come up with a tackle, one of our impact players. No gain, brings up 2nd and 10. Clock still moving, under 1:30 to go.
Yeah, and I think you can see Justin Fuente is thinking field goal. If something pops or kind of squirts out the back end and you get a big touchdown, then great, but you got a chance to go up 27-6 here.
Willis with the pump fake. For Kuma! Touchdown, Hokies!
Of course, right when I say they're playing small ball, they go deep.
4 first-half touchdown passes for Ryan Willis. And it's 30-6, Virginia Tech.
All he does is pump fake, double move. Good job keeping your eyes on the safety and not staring down the receiver the whole time. And Kuma, who last week only had 1 catch for 14 yards, it's kind of the 3rd receiver behind Hazelton and Turner. How many different receivers have been involved this week? You got Grimsley, you got Hazelton, Turner, and now Kuma getting his hands on a couple balls. This offense, man, they are clicking on all cylinders. And for Willis to just settle in and see, you know, it's been so Damon Hazelton and Trey Turner heavy. Some of these other guys haven't been able to get involved, but today it's a great job game planning. Really balanced attack on a lot of receivers. See the pump fake again. And a good job giving your receiver a chance to make the play. You see so many quarterbacks throw the ball out of bounds or overthrow the quarterback. Overthrows are the worst possible thing you can have. You always want to give your receiver a chance to make a play. And that's exactly what Willis did right there.
63 yards in 49 seconds, a 32-yard touchdown from Willis to Kuma. For Kuma, his 6th touchdown grab of the year. Ryan Willis, a 4th of his passes in the first half have gone for touchdowns.
Does he have more passing touchdowns than incompletions? We might have to fact check that.
Same amount. And, you know, we talked earlier about starters playing on special teams. There's the birthday boy, Dax Hollyfield, laying the lick on the kickoff return. We love talking to Bud Foster and Justin Fuente earlier this week about the freshman Dax Hollyfield. Just a ball of energy, but it's not uncontrollable energy.
Yeah.
He keeps himself in check, and he plays with a ton of emotion. He's a guy that 2 or 3 years down the line will be one of the favorites to ever come through this program.
What sticks out to Dax to me is when you talk to him and you're around him, a lot of guys, big-time starters, they don't like to play special teams. I'm too good for that. That guy, Dax, loves special teams, and that's what you got to have elite special teams in the country, which they've had almost every year here at Virginia Tech.
And Hollyfield on that tackle as well. And the one word that we got about Hollyfield, genuine. Yeah. Genuine guy. And you see that out there. He plays with his emotions on, I guess if he wore sleeves, would be on his sleeves.
Probably be considered soft if you're a linebacker in this part of the country. It's like those offensive linemen. They get fined if they wear long sleeves. You're a linebacker at Virginia Tech, you can't wear long sleeves.
When he committed to Virginia Tech, as we go under 30 seconds, and Marshall not in any hurry here, he said when he committed to Virginia Tech, it was because Bud Foster kind of reminded him of his own father. As Knox takes it to the 26-yard line. Nathan Proctor and Jared Hewitt combine on the stop, and that will do it for the first half. And if you're a Hokies fan, you loved what you just saw for the last 30 minutes. A 31-6 lead at halftime for the Virginia Tech Hokies on the arm of Ryan Willis, a career-high 4 touchdowns in the first half. The Capital One halftime report is coming up next. 31-6 at the break. In the first half, 31-6. We're getting ready for the start of the third quarter in Blacksburg. The Hokies fans here. Their special teams for Virginia Tech. Dax Hollyfield there right in the middle. Made a couple of big plays before the end of the half. And really all smiles and really a perfect half for Virginia Tech in the first half.
Yeah, they've exceeded expectations throwing the football, and what stands out to me is first down efficiency at the quarterback position. Again, I'm not talking about just getting 10, 12, 15-yard plays. I'm talking about just the 3, 4, 5-yard plays, and especially them coming at the right hand of Willis. He's been very efficient, and that seems where he gets into his greatest rhythm. And the receivers, balanced. Kuma 3 catches, Grimsley 2, Turner 2, Keene 2. So, and then the explosive plays, they've had 3. Those are always crucial. It's hard, no matter if you're playing against a Conference USA opponent, another ACC opponent. It's hard to put together 12, 13, 14 play drives and score points. They got good players on the other side of the ball as well. The
school record for touchdown passes in a game is the number on that man's jersey right there. It's 5. Willis had 4 in the first half. And if you think one of those plays in the first half, maybe the touchdown to Trey Turner, maybe the touchdown to Eric Kuma is worthy of the Capital One fan vote, make sure you go to ESPN.com or the Sports Center Facebook page on Tuesday to give your Capital One fan vote. The Hokies will get the ball first to start the third quarter in their quest to their 26th consecutive bowl game. And they'll start from the 25-yard line.
I think this is really where you get to see the mental makeup of Marshall, right? The end of that first half did not end well. Virginia Tech, ended up scoring a touchdown instead of a field goal. So momentum is not in your favor, and Virginia Tech gets a chance to double dip right here. They get points before the half, now they get the ball back. And so we're about to see really how much Marshall was challenged at halftime and how much mental fortitude they have right here on this first drive.
They didn't run the ball that well in the first half, but they didn't have to, as Peoples, who had a touchdown reception in the first half, takes it for about 3 yards. Malik Gant coming up from a safety position to make the stop.
Malik has been really solid today, and you see a couple times just his ability to read and react. And, man, when he recognizes that it's a run, he's got that elite closing speed that you see what it takes to play at the next level.
Willis steps up, going deep again for Turner, and he hauls it in. Over Nazi Johnson. Inside the 35, Trey Turner, the freshman, again.
I just continue to be impressed with Willis throwing the football in what you call a phone booth. Look at the tight pressure collapsing, and then the ability to throw with accuracy and keep his receiver on the run. The trajectory of that throw, we see a lot of quarterbacks throw it to like the knee or upright, and the receiver's never able to catch it. Impressive accuracy for such a tight window.
Flag down as Willis comes back over the middle for Dalton Keene, and the tight end makes the catch for a first down. Johnson on the tackle, but let's check on the flag.
Illegal shift by the offense. 2 men moving, not resetting before the snap. 5-yard penalty, first down.
So that wipes out the first down play. The catch to Turner went for 38 yards. But now it's 1st and 15 from the 39.
You know, you hear a lot coming into this game that at the receiver position for Virginia Tech, they don't have that Isaiah Ford or that Cam Phillips who's been here before. And I'd say pump the brakes, because Trey Turner, even though he's a freshman, boy, does the future look bright for this kid.
Isaiah Ford, by the way, just called up off the practice squad for the Miami Dolphins this week, as Peoples gets knocked out of bounds by Johnson at the 30-yard line, gets the penalty yardage back and then some. 2nd and 6 now from the 30.
That 18 yards per catch, that, 4th in college football for freshmen for Trey Turner coming in this game. Yeah, that's going to be more like, 25, 30 yards after the explosive plays he's had today.
Play action. Willis pressured, he's hit and goes down. 2nd sack of the day for the Marshall defense, and it's Channing Hames again. Looked like Willis might have had Grimsley going across the middle. Let's take another look.
Yeah, 2nd sack for Hames today, and I thought Willis should have pulled the trigger right here. It's the same type of play they've been running all day. It was the same type of play, almost RPO type. The Grimsley over the middle in the first quarter. I thought It was probably the first time all day we've seen Willis just not pull the trigger when the guy was open.
On third down, Willis is sacked again. And guess who? Channing Hames. Back-to-back sacks. And the Marshall defense holds strong. And this has been a trend for Virginia Tech this season. They've had some great first halves this year, but in the second half, it's kind of tapered off a bit.
Well, and it's been a trend for Virginia Tech today. I know they've got 31 points, but they have moved the ball, and when they get over the 50 a couple times today, they've taken a couple crucial sacks. But every elite pass rusher has a go-to move, and Hames, back-to-back plays, beats his guy with an interior pass rush move. Makes a crucial play for the Marshall defense.
And Oscar Bradburn does his job. The Aussie pins Marshall inside the 5-yard line. 96 yards to the end zone for Isaiah Green, the freshman. Marshall needs to get it, got a long field in front, and not a good start.
False start. Offense number 58. The penalty is half the distance to the goal line. First down.
It's the second time today we've seen this front four for Virginia Tech kind of shift their front at the last second and kind of spooks the Marshall offensive line. You got to hang in there, and some of these guys, especially like Levi Brown and Kane Madden, young guys, only redshirt sophomores, big environment they're playing in.
No room for Knox to work with. Knox already with a career high in rushing yards today. But he can't get much on that carry, and it's second down and long.
Yeah, it's great your defense got to stop, but when you're starting to drive inside your own 5, there's not a lot you can do, because as an offensive coordinator, you have to be very cognizant of what plays you dial up. And you don't want Ricky Walker sitting on your quarterback in the end zone for a safety.
Green from his own end zone, off play action. And that pass was about 15 yards past his intended target, Marcel Williams. Green now 9 of 19, 68 yards, no touchdowns, and the red zone interception. Doc Holliday told us earlier this week that he likes what he has in Isaiah Green. Kind of reminds him of Rakeem Cato a bit, and some of the other good quarterbacks they've had come through Marshall, but it's probably the toughest road environment he's played in his freshman season.
Yeah, I think he hasn't been quite tested, even though it's not a sold-out crowd today, like this environment. And I think he's handled it overall pretty well.
Again on third and long from the end zone, Green, he'll just take off, and Hollyfield shoves him out of bounds, well shy of the first down marker. And Virginia Tech's defense forces another 3 and out.
Virginia Tech and Bud Foster have been playing heavy man on first and second down. On third down, and because it's been so many third and longs, 3rd and 10 pluses, we've seen them drop more into zone coverage, and it's a blanket over these Marshall receivers and nowhere for Isaiah Green to go with the football. And now it becomes a field possession battle again. Virginia Tech, the third time this game, is going to get the ball 1st and 10 right around their 50.
Flag down at the snap. It's a great punt from Lefevre. Hazelton shakes off one tackle, finds some room into Marshall territory, and dives down to the 48-yard line. But first, let's check on the flag, a 53-yard punt from Lefevre.
Illegal formation by the offense, 5 men in the backfield. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Virginia Tech football, first down.
So here's another scenario, Hudson, where Virginia Tech gets the ball not only right around midfield, but this time in Marshall territory. And a couple of times they've either stalled out in this area or just haven't done much with the field position. Obviously, it's easier to swallow when you're up 31-6, but if you're Justin Fuente, you'd like to see your offense take advantage of the plus field position.
Yeah, you sure would. And if you're Marshall, you got to dig deep here. I know you've been backed up on your own side of the ball a couple times, but again, making a play. Bad field position.
That's Marquise Couch. That's 3 consecutive negative plays on offense. Remember, the last Virginia Tech drive ended with back-to-back sacks by Channing Hames. There, a loss of 5 on the tackle by Couch of Peoples in the backfield. Willis needs one touchdown to tie the Virginia Tech single-game touchdown record. He has a career-high 4, all coming in the first half. They set up the screen to McLeese on the right side. Has to make one man miss. Somehow stays up and then gets hammered at the 45-yard line by Chase Hancock. But that looked like it could be another negative play that he turned into a gain of about 3.
Yeah, he's a good hard runner. Even in the screen game, okay, fake the zone sweep, fake the whirl around sweep, throw the screen to McLeese, and he really turns what would only be probably no gain into at least a couple yard gain, and you're at 3rd and 12 again.
Marshall jumped.
See, that to me right there is a savvy veteran move by Ryan Willis.
Offside, defense number 6, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It's 3rd and long. You know these defensive ends for Marshall are so giddy to get to the quarterback. They know, oh, it's a pass. Short edges on my tackle. I'm going to get after the quarterback. But using the cadence to your advantage is a very smart move by a quarterback who's only been in this system 2 years.
6th penalty on the day against Marshall as Willis is pressured and a drop. Phil Patterson couldn't hang on to it, and so Virginia Tech again gets the great field position but can't turn it into points, and so Oscar Bradburn will look to pin Marshall inside the 10-yard line like he did on his last punt. Marshall was late getting their return man onto the field. Nick Matthews waiting inside the 10. Another long field to go for Marshall. Down 31-6 with 8:35 to go in the 3rd quarter. And the V Foundation in the fight against cancer. Visit v.org/donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research. 31-6 Virginia Tech, and Brendan Knox gets the carry on 1st down, fighting for some yardage on the outside. And he picks up about 3 to bring up 2nd down and 7. About halfway through this 3rd quarter, Virginia Tech in search of its 26th consecutive bowl appearance. The day started in the fog, in the misty rain, but the fog is cleared up. And so has the Virginia Tech offense.
It's maybe the most 2 important downs so far in this game for Marshall. Good job by Knox there when nothing was really there to find a way to get 2 or 3 yards out of it, but they've been backed up inside their own 10, it feels like, all game. They've got to find a way to get outside of their own 10 to 15-yard line.
It's been a tough day for Isaiah Green, but he just takes it down to his tight end underneath. And he lost the football. Who jumped on it? Marshall. Ashby forced it. Looked like Hollyfield had a chance to recover it. Would have been the 3rd turnover of the day. Levias does a nice job there to jump back on his own fumble.
Well, catch the ball, tuck the ball. That's basic, fundamental. I mean, he's carrying it like LaShawn McCoy carries it on Monday Night Football, like it's a loaf of bread. And I'm sure that's what is going to drive and is driving Doc Holliday insane.
3rd down and short. They'll throw for it. Green got planted as he threw it. And again, some miscommunications with his receivers. Nobody in the area. We've seen that a handful of times today. But Hudson, let's give credit to this Virginia Tech defense. Much maligned throughout the season, not just due to injury, but just because of inconsistencies.
Yeah, and I said this earlier in the game. I thought the real dilemma for Virginia Tech on defense was coming into the game. You don't have an elite pass rusher. You only have 1 sack today, but what stands out to me is even though you only have 1 sack, they've been able to get pressure on Isaiah Green in different ways. It's not always all about sacks.
And now the 7th penalty of the day against Marshall. They had 12 men in the punt huddle. There's just some sloppy and inexcusable mistakes today from Marshall. A lot of self-inflicted errors as well going back to that first half. 2 turnovers, a 4th down stop, a missed extra point. Saw Stephen Peoples get close to potentially blocking that as Hazelton lets it roll. And it's down at about the 41-yard line. Timeout on the field will take one with them. 6:56 to go in the third. It's all Virginia Tech. On top of Marshall, 6:56 to go in the third quarter. The Hokie faithful here at Lane Stadium love what they've seen so far, and they might get to see some more, barring something unforeseen. Virginia Tech about a quarter and a half away from its 26th consecutive bowl game. Short gain on first down for Peoples, and Hudson, you and I during the break were talking about this. Positive gains on first down for the Hokies this afternoon have really been the catalyst to their successful drives. When they get a short gain or a negative play on first down, it's really hurt them. Yeah,
it's a common theme. When they get some type of positive yards, it usually carries throughout the drive for them.
Well, there's a positive gain for a first down for Peoples to the 45-yard line. You know, we talked to Justin Fuente earlier this week about Peoples and that fumble right at the end, which ended up tying the game. You got another look at this run here. He said, I'm just happy for Stephen Peoples because on his senior day, you'd hate to see it end on a fumble like that. Here's Grimsley taking the sweep for a first down.
It's amazing just to see Virginia Tech at the point in the season where they are right now. I mean, playoff football, call it whatever you want to call it, win and get in. But you and I were watching that game from home last week, and there were a lot of times in that game where I thought it's over, you know, and I know it may not have resulted in wins this year for Virginia Tech fans.
Spot of the ball, 2nd down and 1.
But what does show today, and it showed last week, is while this is a young team, they're mentally tough, and they just keep chopping wood, and they just continue to have the mindset of next play, next play, next play, and it's the reason why they're in the boat they are in today, to try to extend that bowl consecutive streak.
Well, this is the most freshmen by far that Fuente or Bud Foster have had to play at any stop in their careers. Obviously, Foster's been here since 1987, but for Justin Fuente at his previous time at Memphis, he told us it reminded him a lot of that when he was with the Tigers. When he first got there, he had to play freshman right away, plug and play, as he told us. And because of injuries and other circumstances this year, as Virginia Tech picks up the first down, they've had to do that this year. And at this point in the season, you know, it is game 12, playing in December. The freshmen who have played aren't necessarily freshmen anymore. Right. They have basically a full season of experience for the most part under their belts. It's the youngest two deep at the beginning of the season in the ACC as they set up the screen for Keene. And the tight end brings it close to the first down marker. He needed the 24. He's about 1.5 yards shy. Brings up 3rd down and short.
I really love watching, whether it's the LA Rams at the NFL level or even Virginia Tech here today, teams and offensive coordinators that have the mindset to get the ball to their best playmakers in screen game. Dalton Keene there, who I think is really one of the better emerging tight ends in the country, and he's only a sophomore.
Well, his catch just put Ryan Willis up over 300 yards as Peoples with a burst of speed. The first down inside the 20 to the 18. Willis, 15 of 20, 303 yards, his 5th career 300-yard game.
And I said it earlier in the game, today what sticks out to me is accuracy, efficiency, yes. But he is making the mundane decision on a consistent basis. That to us is what Justin Fuente told us was probably the area of his game where he could take the next step, being consistent in every decision.
Played probably his best game of the season at this point. They fake the sweep, hand off to Peoples, and he takes it down to the 16-yard line. "12 carries, 69 yards for Peoples. A nice afternoon for him. Also has that receiving touchdown earlier, one of the 4 passing touchdowns for Ryan Willis. That is a career high for him, and again, he's 1 shy of the Virginia Tech single game high for touchdowns, which is 5. Play action, Willis. Oh! Grimsley dropped his 2nd touchdown of the day and what would have been number 5 for Willis. Turned up the field before he hauled it in.
You can see Keene right there tapping Willis on the back of his head, because I know, I'll tell you, as a former quarterback, man, when you got the hot hand like a shooter, a three-point shooter in basketball, that's another good strike, accurate throw with a guy in his face, too.
See his head turned upfield when ball made contact with his hands. Underneath Takuma on 3rd down and 8, and he is dragging his defender on his back inside the 15-yard line to the 14. Well shy of the 1st down, but it'll be a field goal try upcoming for Brian Johnson, who's already made 1 today from 32.
Trying to get him off of him. I think you have to be impressed, or at least I am, with Marshall's defense. You've given up 31 points. I don't think that tells the whole story. They have been put in these type of situations, especially in the second half, but really all game, and they haven't folded at all.
Brian Johnson knocks it through from 32. Second time today he's hit from there. And now he's made 4 in a row dating back to last week. 34-6, Virginia Tech on top of Marshall here late in the 3rd quarter.
And imagine if Virginia Tech was scoring touchdowns, what the score would be. You know, Marshall, again, it's one of those things when you turn on the tape and you see defenses put in situations like Marshall has been today, because they haven't been able to get out of their own 10 from an offensive standpoint. But you go back and watch this tape from a Marshall head coach, Doc Holliday perspective, he's going to see a defense that has fight and clawed, and they have not quit.
No, not at all.
They have not quit at all.
Not just on that last drive, but you go to the previous drive with the 2 sacks on back-to-back plays by Channing Hames. He's had a great game defensively, 3 sacks. We've seen Malik Yant make some plays in the run game as well.
I mean, do we even need the other side of the 50 today in the second half?
I feel like we haven't been on that side of the field at all.
I'm sure it would like some attention. The fans sitting down there at the other part of the end zone under this Jumbotron, they're saying, hey.
Where's the love for us? Another touchback off the foot of Jordan Stout. All but one of his kicks today have gone for a touchback. Best in the country in touchback percentage. And so after the 10-play, 44-yard drive that took 4:15 off the clock and resulted in a 32-yard field goal by Johnson, it was his 2nd of the day. Marshall is trying to get something going. They made it 10-6, but it's been 24 unanswered for Virginia Tech since then. And that was the end of the 1st quarter. Knox, who's having a career day, gets the carry on 1st down. And he moves the pile to the 29-yard line for a gain of 4.
We've seen Virginia Tech offensively be so effective with it today. It's the RPOs, the run-pass options. And I'm surprised we haven't seen a lot of that out of Marshall's offense. It's been really run-heavy. And look, you had success in the first half with Knox doing it, but I'm always a big advocate, a big proponent of give your quarterback an option to go somewhere with the ball that's very advantageous for your offense.
Green steps up over the middle, and he has Tyree Brady to the 40-yard line for a 1st down. Quillen on the stop, but Brady, that's just his 2nd catch of the day. Came into this game 110 yards away from 1,000 on the season. He'd be the first one to do it at Marshall since Tommy Schuler did it back in 2014. Schuler, in fact, did it in 3 straight seasons. Marshall's really struggled on the offensive side of the ball here in this second half as Knox gains maybe 2 yards there. In the first half, this Marshall offense put up 235 yards, but before that run, just 30 here in the second half.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to get to a point in their playbook here in the 3rd quarter, and the 3rd quarter is basically over, where your offensive coordinator can say, hey, I can call this play, I can call that play, I can call screen, any play in the playbook's open. They've been pretty much having to play survivor mode because they've had the ball inside their own 5.
On 2nd and 8 at the 43, they go back to Knox around the right side. And Knox is hauled down at the 45. A gain of 2 more to set up 3rd down and 6. And we talked about Bud Foster earlier and how he's felt about playing with such a young defense throughout the season, knowing they're going to have growing pains. But today, they've held a respectable Marshall offense to basically nothing besides their one touchdown. And the term he used with us was, we've seen in some areas they improve for leaps and bounds, but in others, inch by inch. And I think today might be one of those leaps and bounds types improvement days.
To me, especially in your front four, being able to generate pressure. Again, not just sacks, because sacks can be a misleading number, but affecting the quarterback in many ways.
Here's a big play and a first down for Marshall inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. Diablo makes the stop, but not before Obialo, with the catch and run of 21 yards, picks up a fresh set of downs for Marshall.
There we go, finally getting across the 50 onto the other side of the field for the first time this half for Marshall.
Since the first quarter, Marshall now just 2 for 8 on third down. And that brings us to the end of the third quarter in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech is 15 minutes away from advancing to its 26th consecutive bowl game. The fans here love it, and they want to see their team 6 after the first quarter, but a 21-point second. 3 touchdown passes for Ryan Willis has the Hokies up big. And now Marshall finally connects on a big play. On the first play of the fourth quarter, it's a 34-yard touchdown from Green to Xavier Gaines, the tight end. It's Gaines' first touchdown of the season.
They catch Virginia Tech in a too-high safety look, and they run a double move with Gaines, kind of an out and up. And it's a good job of keeping the receiver on the track that he was on. There's the first explosive play for the day in terms of passing the football from Marshall. Had all day to throw the football.
Really, their only other big play came on the Brendan Knox 67-yard rush in the first quarter before his touchdown. Remember, wow. Look at where Justin Fuente was out on the field to call this timeout.
Timeout, Virginia Tech. First charge of the half.
He was at the numbers at the 10 to try and call a timeout before this 2-point play. Remember, Marshall missed an extra point after their first touchdown.
Yep.
So they'll go for 2 here to try and make it a 20-point game. Justin Fuente there just now trying to give Ed Orgeron a run for his money, sprinting down the sideline to call a timeout like he was last week against Texas A&M.
Fuente, former quarterback himself at the college level. I don't know if he was ever listed or considered dual threat, but he still got it.
Here's a look at that touchdown one more time. And probably Green's best throw of the day as well.
Oh, by far. And he threw it early, which is what you can't see there on that clip, but you could see it up here with our bird's eye view. He didn't wait for Gaines to come open. He threw it with some anticipation and some touch. It's a really nice thrown ball.
And so after Virginia Tech calls timeout, Doc Holliday changes his mind. He's going to just send out the extra point unit. And here's Justin Rohrwasser, who missed his first extra point earlier. And he knocks this one through to make it a 21-point game. So the math pretty much is the same there.
Right.
It's 20 or 21 points. And Doc Holliday elects to make it for Gaines his first career touchdown. And for Isaiah Green, the freshman, he now has a touchdown pass in 9 consecutive games he's played in.
You know, I thought this was going to be an interesting dynamic to see. Does Marshall decide to onside kick it? You're down 3 touchdowns. Virginia Tech is not expecting the onside kick.
And they do indeed kick it deep. Returned from the goal line. And a nice special teams tackle made shy of the 20. Kennard King coming up with the stop, the freshman from Auburndale, Florida. And now Ryan Willis in this Virginia Tech offense, which is been very good for the most part today. Had a couple of drives where they probably would have liked to get more out of it, but how can you complain on a day where you've put up 34 points? Here's McLeese on first down, and he picks up 2 to the 20-yard line. Ryan B on the tackle.
Yeah, Ryan B, a guy who's climbing the all-time sack record there at Marshall. This is where you need this Marshall defense that coming into today's game was only giving up 2.8 yards per rush.
That's Christian Darisaw, the true freshman left tackle who's down for Virginia Tech. And as he gets tended to, we'll step aside. For Holiday, you see him there hoping to see his defense come up with another stop on this drive. His team down 3 scores early in the fourth quarter. Right before he went to commercial break, the true freshman left tackle Christian Darisaw was able to walk off the field under his own power. The backup center Tyrell Smith has come in at left tackle. Keep an eye on that. On 2nd down and 8, Willis up high and almost picked off. But now a flag as well. He was looking for Kuma.
I think they're going to get holding on Marshall's DB. Doc Holliday does not like the call.
Holding, defense number 3, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Trying to throw this slant route over here for his press man-to-man coverage, and I don't know, from that angle, I don't know if I could reach a verdict on if that's a good call or not.
You're a quarterback. You're supposed to want that to be a flag. It gives Virginia Tech a first down to the 30.
That one hurt if you're Marshall.
They would have set up a 3rd down and 8 and a chance to get off the field and try and get another score. McLeese, nowhere to go. Almost a suplex there. Yulee the first to hit him.
Yulee
along with Malik Gant.
Yeah, you're right. You filled it in. That's where I was going. Yulee the first guy to make the play, but Gant, who's a safety, he's at the third part in terms of layers. He's in the 3rd layer of that defense, and you see again how quick he reacts to the ball. That's what makes him so special. He's 2nd in this team on tackles.
Justin Fuente singled him out as the guy they have to account for on this Marshall defense. Off play action, Willis taking another shot. And overthrown, looking for Coleman Fox. Nazi Johnson on the coverage. Fox, a redshirt junior from Salem, Virginia. Listed as a running back, but you'll see him play in the slot quite a bit. That's where he ran that route from.
So here comes Marshall counteracting with their dime defense, where they're going to try to get their best DBs on the field to counteract a predictable passing situation. And 3rd down defense has been great for Marshall this year, 2nd in the Conference USA, 16th in the country, and it was a difference maker last week against FIU for them.
Yeah, FIU tops in Conference USA in 3rd down percentage, close to 50%, but they held them to 4 of 14. Virginia Tech is 3 of 9 today. Make it 3 of 10 as Marshall's defense gets the stop they needed. It's a 3-possession game. The offense about to get the ball back early in the 4th quarter. You never know.
No, you don't. And I want to really kind of shine some light on this Marshall defense because they've been put in some just tough situations today. I mean, the whole 3rd quarter, Virginia Tech got the ball on the 50, and they've continued to stay in the game and fight, and they're giving their team a puncher's chance here late in this game.
Fumble got muffed, but Marcel Williams able to jump on it himself. A 52-yard punt, no. Hokie fans are 13 minutes and 1 second away from seeing their team punch a ticket to a bowl game for the 26th consecutive season. Marshall fans hoping to see an incredible comeback here in the 4th quarter. And if it's going to happen, a score on this drive is a must. And they'll have to earn it to 85 yards from the end zone. It's the 5th time Marshall has started a drive from inside the 20. King around the outside. The first down and more. Out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Knox has been unbelievable these last 4 weeks, on pace to lead the team in rushing for a 4th consecutive game.
158 yards for Knox in the first half. Slow start for him. Really not his fault though. Here in the third quarter, he only had 11 yards. So Marshall's got to find a way to generate and cut this field in half. Whether that's an explosive play in a running game, but I think at some point it's got to come in the passing game.
Green with all day. Launches deep into double coverage. Looked like a tug of the jersey, but no flag throw.
Man, I think Doc Holliday and his staff on the sideline right now are echoing the same thing, and I think they are in the right to be upset.
That one looked obvious.
Doc is saying, you know what, you just called us a holding on us down here, and you can see Floyd right there got his hand on his jersey, surprised the back official with his eyes on the ball, and the player right there didn't call that.
Marshall has to regroup now on 2nd and 10. Green flush to his right, slings, and it's caught. Medium gain there on 2nd down. Ashby with his 14th tackle of the day. There is a flag down on the other side of the field from where the play happened.
Looks like it's going to be on Virginia Tech. Isaiah Green clapping his hands.
Personal foul. Defense number 55. 15-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the run. First down.
That's huge.
It's on Jared Hewitt.
That's huge.
We talked about it earlier. Virginia Tech this season has played well in most of the first halves they've played in, but the second half, playing a full 60 minutes has been kind of an issue this year.
I just said chunk plays, right? That's a narrative, that's a theme that has got to come to fruition for Marshall. But if you're Virginia Tech, you just gifted Marshall a chunk play. A personal foul is 15 yards. That's a chunk play. You just gifted it to him.
Marshall now into Hokies territory at the 47. Blitz coming from Virginia Tech. They set up the screen to the receiver, and he has a lot of space down the right side, inside the 25. Diablo finally makes the stop on Marcel Williams. Another chunk play, a gain of 25 yards and a first down.
It's a jailbreak screen. You're going to throw the ball, basically a quick screen out to the perimeter. Watch these offensive linemen. You got to catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage for it to be legal. Catch it, get north, follow your big boys. And the reason that play worked is because they caught Virginia Tech in a 6-7 man pressure. That is ideal for gashing a defense when you call that play.
Knox full steam ahead, gets to the 20, picks up 2 yards. And if Marshall scores on this possession, a touchdown, really a field goal does them no good, so you figure this is 4-down territory. Makes it a 2-possession game. Still plenty of time left.
And I think if you're Marshall or a Marshall fan out there, you like your chances of getting a stop. Even though you're down 14, Marshall defense has played well.
2nd and 8 from the 20. Green underneath, and a big hit at the 16-yard line. Rayshard Ashby, what a way to pick up your 15th tackle of the game.
He's been stellar today. 13 tackles, 7 solo, a tackle for loss. He's so good at recognizing in man and zone coverage when that receiver is going to sit it down and anticipating like he did there when he's going to keep running.
3rd and 4, Marshall 4 for 11 on 3rd down. They go on the ground to Knox, and the second effort. Let's see where they mark him. Looks to be just shy by less than a yard, but again, this is 4-down territory for Marshall. They need 3 touchdowns as we close in on the 10-minute mark remaining in the 4th quarter.
I like the tempo Marshall's trying to push here, get up, get set, run it as fast as you can. Maybe you catch them with some miscommunication.
Knox trying to get to the outside, and he is stopped behind the line. Second time today, the Hokie defense has gotten a stop on 4th and 1. Tyree Rogers with the tackle and a turnover on downs. The Hokie defense.
Tech, the second big stop on 4th and short here now as they lead 34-13. And it's been a bend but don't break mentality for both defenses today, but Virginia Tech most recently stopping the surge of Marshall's offense on that last drive.
And probably the play of the game as well, as Keene takes the catch in the flat and brings it out past the 20 to the 23. Let's take another look at that 4th and 1.
Tyree Rogers, the safety who made the play, is going to get credit on the stat sheet tomorrow, but look at this. Knox is trying to push this ball up the middle, but because of the leakage caused by Virginia Tech's front 7, he has nowhere to go with the ball. He can't sneak it up in there for less than 1 yard. So Tyree Rogers makes an incredible open field tackle, but credit the front 7 for Virginia Tech not giving Knox anywhere to go up the middle.
Peoples picks up the first down. He's up over 70 yards rushing today. Marshall still hasn't given up a 100-yard rusher this season to an individual. They gave up 150 total to FIU last week. That's a season high. But that fourth down stop, as you said, the second of the game, basically a turnover.
Yeah. And
if you count it that way, that's four turnovers today. You had the fumble on the first play of the game, the red zone interception, as now we have a penalty here, and then the 2 fourth down stops. And possessions at a premium. It's a 3-score game.
Offside. Defense, number 44. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Right now the difference, those 4 plays.
Yeah, and it's the second time today, as you mentioned, that Marshall on 4th and short has tried to test the interior part of Virginia Tech's defense. Ricky Walker, Gerard Hewitt, and man, those guys have been as stiff as a board when it comes to short yardage situations.
Career day so far for Ryan Willis on the offensive side of the ball. Off play action, a strike and a drop by Kuma around midfield. Chris Jackson broke it up, and now Jackson is down. And he looks to be in a bit of pain.
Yeah, I think his teammate caught him right in the rib with his face mask.
I didn't play football, but that doesn't sound pleasant.
I had a rib injury my senior year, and let me tell you something about ribs. They don't heal quickly at all. It hurts to lay, it hurts to laugh, it hurts to cough. Hopefully the wind just got knocked out of Chris Jackson there, but I saw it very clearly. Here it is. Willis is trying to throw this seam slant route that they've thrown all day. Good accurate throw by Willis again, and bam! He's just ends up taking down one of his own guys.
Looked like Gant who came in to jar the ball free. Now Doc Holliday out there looking at Jackson. Jackson has started every game at corner this season, the junior out of Tallahassee. Transfer from Florida A&M. And so while Virginia Tech is playing for their 6th win and a bowl, Marshall on the other side, they've already qualified for a bowl game. They went 8-3, 6-2 in Conference USA, finished 2nd in their division, a game out of playing in the Conference USA title game. But they've still got one more game to play as well. But something interesting that we were talking to Doc Holliday about that he brought up, a game this week really affects recruiting now that they have the early signing period in mid-December.
Yeah, in fact, he told us his coaches are leaving from this game to get on the recruiting trail and go into the homes of a lot of their recruits. You know, I'm a big believer that whenever, from Marshall's standpoint, when you have a chance to play a big school like Virginia Tech on TV, and that is more important to me in recruiting. Winning helps recruiting, and it doesn't look good for Marshall right now, but recognition, especially because Marshall, they have to go to Florida, they have to go all over the country. Those recruits like seeing, hey, I go to Marshall, I can go play some big-time football against some of the best opponents in the country.
And you mentioned winning, and this is a program, as you saw Chris Jackson able to walk off the field with some help. We get an update, we'll give it to you as Peoples. Nope, Willis kept it. He's wrestled down well behind the line of scrimmage at the 30-yard line. Omari Cobb with the play. This Marshall program has done a lot of winning in the 9 seasons under Doc Holliday. They won the 2014 Conference USA Championship. They've won at least 8 games in 5 of the last 6 years. You look at some of the quarterbacks that they've produced. When Raheem Cato was at Marshall, Chase Litton, who was the quarterback the last couple of years, now he's with the Kansas City Chiefs on their practice squad.
Let's see what Marshall decides to do here. Big 3rd down again. You can get the ball back to your offense. They're going to bring pressure from the field, or are they bluffing?
Draw to Peoples, trying to find some space. The conservative play call. Picks up a nice gain on 3rd down and 8 of 6, but still a couple of yards shy of the first down marker. And Virginia Tech has to punt as we move closer to 7.5 minutes to go in this game. Another penalty on Marshall.
That'll give Virginia Tech a first down.
Costly.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. That foul will result in a first down.
So, Hudson, when you're a team like Marshall and you go on the road to face a Power 5 school like Virginia Tech, who's got a lot to play for, coming off an emotional win last week against their biggest rival, you pretty much have to play a perfect game, and today has been the opposite of that.
Yeah, and Marshall, both these teams really, they're really good on defense. They're exceptional in special teams, and that's been the recipe for success for them this year. But you can't give Virginia Tech, because they are bigger, they're more athletic than you, any extra drives, any extra possessions, any extra plays, and that's what you did right there, and that's happened a couple times today.
You could almost consider that a 5th turnover.
Yeah. I don't understand that either on pump block. You're literally watching the football.
Jalen Holston just had his first carry of the day, and now the 11th penalty if it's against Marshall.
Offside. Number 1 on the defense. 5-yard penalty. That foul will result in a first down.
Again, an attribute of Ryan Willis's game. You see him growing up kind of in front of our eyes, using the snap count to his advantage. He did it earlier on a predictable 3rd down passing situation to Marshall's defense when they knew they were trying to get around the edge. You're pretty giddy, cleats dug in the turf, trying to get to the quarterback. I like that out of the quarterback. You got 4 or 5 different variations of your snap count. Mix them up, use them all.
Holston again. And he takes it to the 43-yard line. Jaquan Yulee, Mike linebacker, on the tackle. Championship Saturday in college football, Hudson. A lot of big games are going around the country this afternoon, and one that might not be the focus of a lot of people, but now especially after Mackenzie Milton's injury, it's Justin Fuente's former school Memphis and UCF in the American Conference title game. And my question to you, and we asked Justin Fuente this in our conference call with him, if he thinks UCF, if they win tonight, if they deserve a legitimate shot at the college football playoff. And he, of course, had the caveat of, I'm definitely rooting for Memphis.
Yeah.
As Trey Turner takes it to the 40-yard line. Malik Gant on the tackle.
If my answer to you is if UCF still had Mackenzie Milton, because I do think, and Justin Fuente echoed the same thing, UCF's one of the most explosive teams in the country. If they had Mackenzie Milton and all things fell into place where, SEC, Big 12, Big 10, Ohio State, Oklahoma, those teams lost, then maybe UCF, but I don't think the committee's going to look at UCF without their best player and put him in there.
Fuente talked about how heartbroken he was to see a guy like Mackenzie Milton go down like that as Holston breaks through the pile, and he will take it in for 6. 40-yard score for Holston. And you could put this one on ice. 40-13, Virginia Tech leads. On the first 3rd down conversion of the second half, Jalen Holston takes it in for his 2nd touchdown of the season. A career-long run for number 13. Johnson adds the extra point, and the Hokies now on top 41-13 with under 5 minutes to go in the 4th.
Really the first time all day that I feel like Marshall has let their guard down defensively and not played all the way through. And when you got a fresh-legged running back like Jalen Holston in there, look at your quarterback. You think he loves the players that he plays with, the passion, the energy to carry out his fake all the way to the end zone? That's what you like to see, but really the first time I think all game, because Marshall's run defense has lived up to the hype, that maybe it's a credit to a running back like Holston being in there who hasn't had a lot of reps today, and he's got some fresh legs, which allowed him to kind of power through there and break that for a long one. It's the beauty of having depth at the running back position, and you see it all across the country, but you really see it at Power 5 schools, Georgia, Alabama. The schools that are playing in the college football Final Four, those guys have depth, especially at the running back position. And we talked about Marshall having that, 3 to 4 different guys, but if Virginia Tech can get to the point where they've got McLeese and Peoples and Holston that they really, really believe in and can rely on, and have 3 different running backs for your bowl game this year and going into next season, I know you'll lose Steven Peoples to graduations, but, man, that makes a difference maker in your offense.
Another touchback for Stout. And with 4:56 to go in the fourth quarter, Marshall takes over at the 25-yard line.
Look at Stout out here just padding stats.
Love it. Best at his job in the country. Nobody does it better on touchbacks on kickoffs.
Is there a record for that?
Than that man right there. Just a freshman nearby here in Virginia. And he's played a big role in the field position battle today as well. Draw play to Knox on first down. Knox gets to the outside and picks up the first down, a gain of 11. I want to stick with the college football playoff talk for a second. You mentioned Oklahoma, you mentioned Ohio State. If Alabama beats Georgia, Georgia's likely out of the top 4. Sorry to tell you. But
no hard feelings.
You've got Oklahoma playing for the Big 12 title today, and you've got Ohio State playing for the Big 10 title later on tonight against Northwestern. Both those teams win. Which one of those two are you putting in?
I think you got to look at, I hate the word deserving. A lot of people use it. Oh, this team's deserving. I don't want deserving. I want disruptive. And I think Oklahoma, because of their offense, and I know their defense isn't very good at all, point blank, but because of Kyler Murray and that offense, I think if you put them in there at the 4th spot, they have the greatest chance to disrupt, upset, whatever you want to call it. I think Nick Saban, if he had to play Oklahoma, is going to have to spend some extra time at night losing sleep thinking about that offense.
Short completion for Green. Caught by Levias. Artis on the tackle brings up third down. For me, I look at the two losses. They're pretty similar. They're both going to be conference champs. Both going to have one loss if they both win. The one loss for Oklahoma by 1 score on a last-second field goal to Texas in a rivalry game.
Right.
And Ohio State, Purdue's a bowl team.
The optics are totally different.
Right. And Jeff Brom is building something great at Purdue. But Ohio State went on the road and got thumped by 4 touchdowns to an unranked team. As Green, too high and incomplete. It's 4th down. It's hard for me to justify putting them in over Oklahoma if Oklahoma's got a more impressive win in their championship game as well.
And you mentioned, or I mentioned optics. I think a lot of that depends on how Ohio State plays today in terms of how much they win by. If they squeak one out against Northwestern and Oklahoma wins, I know Oklahoma and Texas are playing right now. I'm not for sure of the score, but if they end up beating Texas by more than 2 touchdowns and Ohio State squeaks one out, Oklahoma's going.
4th and short. Here's Green. All day trying to find someone to throw it to. And has his tight end for a first down to the 40-yard line. With under 3 minutes to go in the game, Marshall trying to take some sort of momentum. That's an 18-yard gain on 4th down. They would have loved to have had the 2 4th down conversions earlier. They're now 1 for 3 in the game.
You mentioned Rakeem Cato, the quarterback for Marshall from 2010 to 14, and this is Rakeem Cato-esque, just playing a little backyard football. Throws it up to his tight end and extends the drive.
This pass batted up into the air and incomplete. Jermaine Waller, the freshman from Washington, D.C. Good size on him, 6'1", 182 pounds, got up there and swatted it. So it's 2nd and 10 for Marshall. Green today, 18 of 32. That last completion on 4th down put him at exactly 200 yards. No touchdowns and that red zone interception. Green pressured, steps up, he's going to take off. The first down and more, and he ducks out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Again, Marshall already clinched their spot in a bowl game. They were hoping to finish the season on a 4-game winning streak, but that looks like it's coming to an end. Virginia Tech had everything to play for. Now that Florida State's bowl streak is over after a 5-7 season in Willie Taggart's first year in Tallahassee, Justin Fuente, with all the adversity that this team has had to deal with this year, is 2 minutes away from Virginia Tech going to their 26th straight bowl. Here's a bullet caught inside the 10 by Xavier Gaines, who had the touchdown earlier. Shamari Connor on the coverage. And it'll be 1st and goal for Marshall with 1:51 to go in the game.
You've seen Marshall have success with those jailbreak screens with the linemen getting out, and that really was a play on of that play. They pump fake the quick screen and throw it to Gaines up down the sideline. It's a good job of Isaiah Green understanding that the defensive back for Virginia Tech was playing over the top and throwing the back shoulder ball.
1st and goal from the 5. And looking for Gaines, a nice defensive play by Khalil Ladler to break it up. His 3rd pass breakup of the season. Brings up 2nd and goal.
What excites me and what should excite Marshall fans about the future of Isaiah Green, because he's only a redshirt freshman, is when I watch these athletic quarterbacks, I kind of dissect them and look at it from the point of, okay, I know he can make plays with his legs, but does he rely on his legs every play? That's what I think why the future is so bright for Isaiah, is because he's a passer first, a runner second.
Knox trying for his 2nd score of the game, and he's in there. Touchdown Marshall. And a nice piece of momentum for Marshall to take in to their bowl game.
Yeah, and it's a credit to the mental toughness for them to just continue to play, and none of these guys on either side of the ball have quit. It's, it looks like they're going to kick the field goal, so it'll be a 21-point game here. I'm sure they'll go for the onside kick, but you can't look back at this tape and say, hey, Marshall folded the tent and went home.
No, we were talking about it earlier. Their defense is held strong, and now their offense doing it well now. And it's time for today's Carhartt Player of the Game. And who else but Ryan Willis?
Ryan Willis has had a spectacular day, and I think the most impressive part for his performance today was the throws from the pocket. We know he can make plays with his legs. We know he's a dual-threat guy. But I saw a guy grow up today of playing the quarterback position and throwing the ball from phone booth-type windows, tight contested windows in the pocket where you've got guys draping all over you. That's what the people at the next level want to see. When pressure is bearing down on you, can you stand in there and still make good, accurate throws? And he's done that. 18 of 26, 312 yards, 4 touchdowns. Biggest thing, no turnovers. You feel like if you're a Virginia Tech fan, and I sure do, that this guy really grew up today.
Ryan Willis, our hardworking player of the game, brought to you by Carhartt. Career high 4 touchdowns for him, all coming in the first half. He would have had number 5, yeah. Grimsley dropped what would have been his 2nd score of the day as well earlier.
Something tells me he won't let Grimsley forget that either.
Much easier to joke around about that when you're up by 21.
There's no doubt.
So Marshall lines up for the onside kick. Rohrwasser gets the bounce he wants. It goes 10 yards, but it goes out of bounds. And the first player to touch it was out of bounds.
Yeah, so that would have been a flag as well.
Marshall got everything they wanted on the bounce and the roll, just not the recovery, and now the 12th penalty of the game.
Kick out of bounds by the kicking team, Marshall. First down.
You mentioned, Josh, earlier about the bowl game, and now that Virginia Tech will get to go to a bowl game. I'm hearing not grumblings, but I'm hearing rumors, maybe the Military Bowl, and guess what conference the Military Bowl pulls from sometimes? It's the same conference that Memphis plays in, so
could see it.
Wouldn't that be fun to watch if you're a Virginia Tech fan? Justin Fuente getting a shot to go back at his old school.
Hendon Hooker in the game, the redshirt freshman at quarterback. Greensboro, North Carolina. Has a 69-yard touchdown earlier this season against William and Mary. Has also played a snap against Boston College. It's funny, doing our prep for this game, Caleb Farley played quarterback in high school. Farley starting defensive back for Virginia Tech. Farley was 2nd team All-State at quarterback in North Carolina, behind who else but Hendon Hooker. As Virginia Tech lines up in victory formation, Hooker takes a knee. They'll have to snap it one more time, but the Hokies are one snap away from going to their 26th straight bowl game.
The streak lives on.
It's now the longest active streak, and it's also the third longest ever in college football. And that's the final snap of the game. After a 4-game losing streak, Virginia Tech had to beat their rival Virginia. They did that in overtime. They had to beat an 8-3 Marshall team that was running a 3-game winning streak, and they did that. 41-20, your final score, as Justin Fuente and Doc Holliday shake hands, as the teams do as well. And what an effort, Hudson, on both sides of the ball today, offensively and defensively for the Hokies.
Yeah, what stuck out to me is, you're looking at it, the performance of Ryan Willis, but I also love, he's kind of like a point guard in basketball. And that's one of the reasons why I thought we saw him grow up today, is the distribution to Kuma, Grimsley, Turner, Keene. There were so many different receivers that got involved today, and I think the future is bright at the quarterback position for Virginia Tech.
It was all Virginia Tech from the first snap of the game when Ricky